My name is Robert Hollis. I want to thank you very much for checking out the Periscope. I used to be an auto mechanic. Now I'm a life mechanic. And what our subject is going to be about today, if you want to follow me or do anything, you can basically check out, lifemechanic.com. And up there in the right-hand corner is all my things, my Twitter, my Facebook, and so on and so forth. Got a lot of free videos everywhere. And so what I want to share with you today, this thing is dedicated to William O'Toole. His question was really simply can you please explain to people how you can do this part-time? And I absolutely can. And so one of the things I want to share with each and every one of you is really, there's a lot of Periscopes that I've done and a lot of trainings that I've done where, you got to believe and 1,000% believe that you can do this. There's been virtually millions, and I'm not exaggerating with that number. There's literally millions of people that started out part-time. Jim Rohn talked about it the best, part-time magic. And thank you very much for the hearts for those of you that, you can just tap on the screen and that gives me hearts. I'm sure we'll go over 475,000 hearts today. So thank you very much for the love. I really appreciate it. And one of the things about part-time, again, is all about attitude. I try to say this to people all the time, is that let's say, for instance, that money was at such a bad situation in your current life that you had to go out and get a part-time job. If you had to go out and get a part-time job, you got to look at everything from the commute time to when you're there, how many hours you're working, and then also what you got to do. If you would treat your own online business, if you would treat your network business, your direct selling business, if you would treat being an entrepreneur like you had a job, you would replace your income so fast, it would blow your mind. I keep saying this to people all the time, that you're either inspired or what you're doing is you do things through desperation because you have to do them. Now, doing it part-time, and I know I was sort of joking when William O'Toole first put this on here, but he said, Robert, can you explain to people how to do it part-time? And my first thing I said is, just do half of what a full-time person does. And he went, no, wait a minute. You know what I mean? And he's absolutely correct. When William said that, it's like, what do you do? And I'll tell you right now, it's all based around priorities. You got to set a priority and you got to know what you want. You got to want it really bad. You can actually check out the Periscope that I did yesterday at lifemechanic.com because I said, man, if you don't know what you want, you're in trouble. If you don't really want it bad. And what you got to do is you just got to prioritize what's important. You can't allow anything, and I mean this, you can't allow anything during your part-time hours. You got to dedicate to when you're doing this. And let me explain to you really quickly how easy it is to set time management and priorities. Let's say, and some of you know this, but you got children, right? And if you don't, I'll come back to another example. But if you got children and all of a sudden they're getting into hockey, they're getting into baseball, they're getting into, any kind of sport. Well, if their practices are a certain day and their games are on a certain day, everything stops. Everything stops. So I went to, just the other day, I went to mail something actually to Eric, Tom Eric out in Norway. I mailed him a copy of my book, Melinda, Yours is on its way. And all of a sudden it's like, so I went there and there was a parade. And I cut up a couple of streets and then left, took up to get there. And the whole road was full. And I could tell that it was a homecoming game. And it was a homecoming game for the football team here in my little small town of Laurel, Montana. And one of the things that when I went there, I said to the lady, I said, listen, thank you very much. And she said, well, you got to hurry up because, we're all going to the homecoming game. Now, that's a dedication. You see what I mean? That's a dedication and a commitment. When Matthew and Kyle were in martial arts, guess what? No one needed to ask us what we were doing on Thursday night, on Tuesday night. No one had to ask us what we were doing, on the weekends. If they had a tournament, people would say, hey, listen, we should get together maybe Thursday night. No, that's when my son has martial arts. That's when I take my boys to martial arts. You know what I mean? Well, what about Tuesday night? Martial arts. What about Saturday? Martial arts. So one of the things that you got to make a commitment to if you're doing this part-time, and I use kids, and I said I would use another example, but a lot of us, guess what, might be adults now, but I can remember when I was younger, and I did a lot of activities. What I mean about activities, I was on a bowling league. I was on a dart league. I was on a pool league. I was in an arm wrestling group. I went to the gym all the time. I was in martial arts. It's like I had every night figured out of what I was going to do. And guess what? If people ask me, hey, what are you doing Friday night? I bowl Friday nights. Well, ain't nothing happening on Friday nights. And so you got to understand that if you're really serious, see, that's the difference between wanting something and people that are serious. Is if you're serious, then there's going to be slots of time when you don't search Facebook, you're not on Reddit, you're not skimming through YouTube videos, you are doing nothing but piquing interest and building relationships with brand new people. That's all you're doing. You're not doing the stuff that you're basically that's stopping you from your goals. So a lot of people have their priorities a little out of whack because it's like, well, no, this is when I wind down. This is when, I relax. This is when I watch TV. This is when I surf the internet and see, we got these times in our life where, I can't do anything on Monday night. It's Monday night football. I got Thursday night football. I can't do anything on Sunday. That's NASCAR. You see what I mean? So if you look at your entire life has already got priorities. You just haven't made part-time building your empire as a priority. When it's a priority, guess what? You will make time of it. And when you set your time during those part-time hours, then what you got to do is you got to be disciplined. You got to only do what is called productive activities. That's all you got to do during those times. Now, will you get bored? Yes. Will you get distracted? Absolutely. Will you constantly be going back and forth? See, you just got to find a way to say, this is my slotted time. And it's amazing because you have the ability to do it. Because some of you got a routine right now that is amazing. And if I said to you, hey, let's get together tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. No, I can't do it at 7 o'clock because I'm taking the kids to school. See, there's some things in your life, like maybe your children or your job. See, you got responsibilities. You got to pay your bills. I could look at your schedule, and there's some things on your schedule that you will not allow me to break. Why? Because they're important to you. They are priorities. They are extremely high on the list. When are you going to take your practice, your learning skills to work on personal development? When are you going to take you and make you a priority? When do you get to be on the top of the list? When is your designated time to practice, to put in your hours, to master this? See what I mean? So when like I said at the beginning of this Periscope, if you were forced, say there was something happened that, let's not even talk about negative things. But if there was something negative in your life that happened that forced you to get a job or forced you to get another part-time job, you would do it. I tell people that you are an amazing human being, and you got the ability to make instant changes fast. I brought this up on another Periscope. Let's give you another example. Let's say that you turn around and you go to work tomorrow, and they give you a notice. And as soon as you get a notice, they say, listen, I'm sorry to inform you that we're shutting this office and this location down. What? Yeah, we're shutting it down. Now, you're a great employee, and we really appreciate you working here. So if you want to keep your job, we're opening up a new location, and it's on the other side of the country. It's totally on the other side of the country. So if you live in Florida, it's in California. If you live on the West Coast, it's on the East Coast, and even in the middle. And so when you're all of a sudden, you're told that if you want to keep your job, you have to relocate. Now you got some huge decisions to make. And you either do it or you don't. So a lot of people, I mean, that's what I think is so amazing about sports. You know, all of a sudden you got a free agent, right? Or you get a brand new person that goes into the quote unquote, gets drafted into the NBA or the NFL. And all of a sudden he just wants to get in the NFL. All I wanted to do my whole entire life is play professional sports. And they say, okay, so the team that drafted you and picked you was the New Orleans Saints. You don't see one person go, I'm not moving there. Hey, we're moving to New Orleans. You see what I mean? And it's like, it's so amazing how people want their lives to change. They want more money. They want more free time. They want out of their job, but they're not willing to dedicate and commit a priority to learn their skills, to master their skills and do this. You know, we brought this up the other day about, you know, if you were going to decide to go back to school, or if you're going to go to a trade school to learn some kind of deal, you know, to be a mechanic, for instance, as soon as you make the decision that you need to make the extra money, you need to get the schooling, then you go there, you enroll, and when you enroll, you make commitments and you make it happen, or you don't and you quit and you don't do it. So that's how you'd make it part-time. You understand that you only have part-time hours, but you work on those part-time hours and you slate time to do this business for real part-time. Now, what is part-time? If 40 hours is the average week for a full-time person, man, if people really put in 20 hours of prospecting a week, wow. If you did it with the $1 million question and you were committed to it and you did it all the entire 20 hours, some of you would be making a full-time income easily in 60 days. 90 days max. You could tell your boss, goodbye. I'm no longer here. So that's how you build a part-time business. So I thank you very much for each and every one of you getting on this Periscope. It's going to be a little short. Got to hang out. I got to do with Scott Kloster. This guy is on me like a wet blanket. I love it. You know, so help me out. So anyway, I hope you guys really appreciate it. Again, you know, Robert Hollis, check out lifemechanic.com. That's where you can find me and contact me. For those of you that can send me a private message, you can. Let me know what subject you want me to talk about. I was thinking right before I got on here that I should just do a Q&A. How many people would like me just to get on here and just answer any questions whatsoever? I should actually do a couple of those. So anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for all the hearts and the love. Thank you for sharing this. You know, you can find it on Twitter as soon as I get done. And then what I'm also going to do is I'll also put it up on lifemechanic.com. So anyway, God bless. Have a wonderful night wherever you are. And of course, some of you are in different countries the next day. I appreciate you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.